call the regular board meeting to order. All members of the board are present except Board Member Fletch, Board Member Biscaglia, Board Member Bleckinger, and ex officio student board members Karkanis, Maurice, and Purba. Mr. Manna, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I forgot.
May I have a motion to recess into executive session to discuss current litigation, collective negotiations, employment matters relating to particular persons, a discipline matter, and superintendent mid-year evaluation? Mr. Bullen, Ms. Poulin, all in favor? Motion carried unanimously. May I have a motion to return the regular board meeting to public session? Ms. Bleckinger, Dr. Spicer, all in favor? Motion carried unanimously. I call the regular board meeting to order. All board members are present. During the immediately preceding executive session, our board discussed resolutions related to current litigation. May I have a motion on this? Ms. Poulin?
Yes. I move the adoption of the following resolutions. Be it resolved that the Board of Education, in accordance with the Board of Education Policy 6540 and the New York Public Officers Law, and in response to a request from Dr. Darren J. Brown Hall, Superintendent of Schools, received December 12, 2025, hereby agrees to defend and indemnify Dr. Brown Hall in the litigation captioned Doe et al. V. Williamsville Central School District et al., index number 82139/2025. And be it resolved that the Board of Education, in accordance with Board of Education Policy 6540 and the New York Public Officers Law, in response to a request from Chris McDuffie, principal of Mill Middle School, received December 18th, 2025, hereby agrees to defend and indemnify Mr. McDuffie in the litigation captioned Doe et al. V. Williamsville Central School District et al., index number 82139/2025.
Is there a second? Mr. Bulin, all in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Good evening and welcome to all in attendance. Please be advised that in the event of a fire emergency, an evacuation should be necessary, an alarm will sound. Please note all marked emergency exits and evacuate well away from the building. At this time, we request that everyone turn their cell phones and other electronic devices to silent. Thank you. At this time, we would like to honor former staff member and Williamsville Education Foundation member Cheryl Goldstone, who passed away December 15th. We offer our condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues. I ask that all in attendance please join us in a moment of silence for Ms. Goldstone. Thank you. We are now on item 3. Dr. Brown Hall, I turn it over to you for school spotlight.
Thank you very much, Board President. So prior to the winter recess throughout the district, our schools were engaged in incredible opportunities to support our community and those less fortunate. For the last 12 years, Casey Middle School has been at the forefront of that, helping bring kindness and hope during the holiday season. Please welcome Casey Principal Dr. Sal Carella to share more on their Days of Giving initiative.
Thank you. Days of Giving is a long-standing and meaningful tradition within our 6th grade community at Casey Middle School. Organized through our ELA teachers, this initiative centers around kindness, service, and giving back to our local community. Now in its 12th year, Days of Giving continues to reflect the very best of who we are as a school. I'd like to extend a sincere gratitude to Colleen Murray, Gretchen Bruning, and Melissa Bennett for their dedication to carrying this tradition forward. Their work not only sustains an important program, but also reinforces the core values and beliefs that define Casey. I also want to thank our PTSA for their help and support with the initiative. Through this experience, our students are reminded of what it truly means to be a Casey Cougar, to lead with fierce minds and kind hearts, and to understand the impact they can have beyond our school walls. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are going to show ourselves and others that we care and we're giving back to the community. Days of Giving started 12 years ago friend of mine went to the Buffalo Dream Center for the Christmas Eve dinner. She realized that the people there who were receiving the dinners needed something special at their table. So we brought that idea back, and for the last 12 years, we've been making table favors.
A nice thing to do so that people know that they're like good people in the world. People can see that you're willing to help them.
They're doing something to give back to the community and they can feel really good about that. We do Positivity Project at KC, and a big part of that is developing an other people mindset. And so projects like these really help kids understand that there's people out there that don't have as much as them, and they can do something to help with that. To see how excited they are just to even participate in it, I'm just so proud of them.
This is our first part of our Days of Giving. Okay. Our second part is the December Letters Project.
People who have to spend their holidays in hospitals, it's not always the happiest of times. You're away from your family, or away from your friends. And so these cards help make their holidays a little bit better. It just one little thing to brighten their day.
Dear friend, I know what you're going through is tough, but you're strong. So remember, there are so many people rooting for you, including me, your friend, Andrew.
Awesome.
Dear friend, I'm sorry that you are spending the holidays away from home. What you are going through right now is hard. Don't forget that you are strong and you got this. Happy holidays from Kaylee.
It shows that they're loved and they have people thinking about them over the holidays. I feel happy because I know that it will make someone else feel happy. And then I know that I'm doing a good thing bringing it to someone.
It's really the thoughtful things that they write that you never think as a sixth grader they can really come up and think of. And it really just ends up being great writing, sentence structure, spelling, capitals, all of those things. So that's just retouching on the writing process, but in the end, creating a really thoughtful message for others, hoping to lift their spirits. It might just be a table favor or a card, but a little bit goes a long way. It really just creates really good humans. It's a great activity and we love it.
Thank you for sharing that, Principal Corolla, and everything that you all do over at Casey Middle School. Thank you very much. We also know throughout the year, members of our diverse community enjoy numerous holidays, cultural observances, and celebrations. At Maple East Elementary School, along with learning about world history, continents, and cultures, students were able to share their celebrations with a presentation to their peers and families. I'd now like to welcome Maple East Principal Dr. Bill Bowen to the podium to highlight their project.
Thank you, Dr. Brownhall, and good evening to the esteemed members of our Williamsville Board of Education. I am Bill Bowen, the proud principal of Maple East Elementary, and it is my pleasure to introduce our annual school spotlight video to you this evening. At Maple East, we work tirelessly to align our efforts with the priorities of the board and the superintendent. These priorities include a commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, student voice, family and community engagement, and high-quality academic instruction. Tonight, you will see a third grade research project that thoughtfully weaves these priorities together and showcases our shared values as a Maple East and Williamsville school community. This project is the culmination of a third grade social studies unit in which students learned about cultures, holidays, and traditions, and then applied their learning by conducting a research project on a holiday or tradition that is important to their family. At the conclusion of the unit, we invited families to the school for a holiday showcase. During this event, students presented information about their chosen holiday or tradition to their peers and family members. As you watch the video, you will see how student voice, cultural understanding, and family engagement are all integrated into the learning experience. Before we show the video, I'd like to thank third grade teacher Colleen Bender and ENL teacher Lindsay Tutunji for highlighting this work, along with our entire third grade team for designing and implementing this meaningful learning experience. I'd also like to thank our entire Maple East faculty for creating similar opportunities for kids at every grade level at our school. Finally, thank you so much to our board and superintendent for your vision and continued support of these types of experiences for our kids. Please enjoy our school spotlight video. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Third grade spends a lot of time learning about the 7 continents. For the whole month of December, we pick a different country to visit and we travel around within the classrooms. And then in the holiday showcase, the students pick their own holiday their family celebrates, and then they are able to showcase it. They have little brochures, they have little trinkets at the table, any way that they want to talk about their holiday.
The Moon Festival, the ways we decorate is to hang up red banners.
The kids really light up when they're seeing themselves being represented at school, and they're just more aware of what goes on, different holidays celebrated, and all the different cultures that we have present at Maple East.
A tradition we have is we make mooncakes. We use flour and other sweet stuff to fill in it to make a mooncake. They had like a curious mind and they asked me a lot of questions. I want them to know about my traditions so that maybe they can, like celebrate it.
Holidays around the world really teaches our students empathy and respect. They can see other cultures and religions and educate themselves. It really is learning about geography, families, making connections, and because they love their friends, they want to learn about their cultures and religions.
Some of the customs that we do during Diwali is the fireworks, and we light Diwali lamps. We usually wear a dress with symbols on it and like vibrant colors.
When they're able to talk about the holidays they celebrate, it kind of just brings their personalities out and they get to connect with kids in class. And when each kid is represented, I feel like they're so comfortable and they get excited to share and talk about their heritage.
Students love learning just as much as sharing. Being able to show the games they play, the lights that they light, the food they eat. Wow, we celebrate holidays very similarly and we're so connected and we are much more alike than we think.
It was fun because they're caring about my holiday and wanting to learn more about it. If someone has this holiday and someone has that holiday, then they can talk about their differences and the things that are the same, and they can learn more about each other and be better friends.
How absolutely awesome. Thank you very much, Principal Bowen, for that also. President, I turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Brown Hall. Are there any board acknowledgements this evening? I do not see any, so we will move on to item number 4, which is public expression. I call on Parliamentarian Poulin to review our public expression format.
Welcome to all who have come to observe this regular board meeting. Per policy 1510, the board allows for up to 30 minutes for this first public expression period. This is a time when we invite members of our school community to share ideas, opinions, and concerns with us. While we are here to listen carefully and we take your concerns seriously, public comment is not designed to be a discussion. Therefore, please know we will not be responding tonight. Instead, you will receive a response by email after our meeting. Because we want to maintain mutual respect and civility, please ensure that comments are delivered in a respectful manner to the board directly. Also, under state and federal privacy laws, we are unable to entertain any comments related to employee personnel matters or any topic that may disclose information about a particular student. On these matters, we ask that you go through appropriate administrative channels. Please note that individuals are required to sign up prior to our meeting, and each speaker is allotted 3 minutes for comments. You will be signaled at 2.5 minutes so that you may conclude your remarks. At this time, we will begin public comments. After I call on you, please step up to the podium and state your name. Our first speaker tonight is Lauren Schellinger.
Hello. Hi, I'm Lauren Schellinger.
Good evening to Superintendent, the board, and to the guests. My name's Lauren Skellinger. My children are students at Forest and Mill, and I've volunteered in the district in several capacities. Thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts on the current committee looking into providing compensation to board members. I recognize the hard work that the board puts in and the demands that the position requires. My comments against compensating board members are by no means intended to reflect ingratitude for your service. Indeed, I thank each of you for your time tonight and throughout your tenures. I can understand why members of the board thought this was a topic worth investigating. I'm acutely aware of the decline in volunteerism post-COVID and have seen firsthand how local institutions can suffer from that decline. I sit on the board of a youth-focused nonprofit and serve as treasurer for a youth sports league. In both these organizations, we've had to work creatively to fill positions and attract new volunteers. Fortunately for the Williamsville School District, there has been sufficient interest to ensure we do not have any vacancies on the board. The only time recently when a seat went unfilled was a board decision to keep a seat empty following a resignation. Similarly, there has not been an issue with uncontested elections. Despite national and local trends, the Williamsville School Board has not been suffering from a lack of volunteers. In contrast, the Village of Williamsville, which does provide compensation for their trustees, has often had uncontested elections, including for mayor in 2023 and for 2 trustee positions in 2025. This is evidence that compensation for board members is not sufficient to increase the pool of interested parties. My hypothesis for why the district hasn't suffered from a lack of volunteers is because the board has been high functioning and able to make real progress on issues facing the district. There are more challenges ahead, including expenses that outpace revenues, a trend that is projected to continue according to the presentation to the board last month. Rather than spending money on attorneys to determine whether there's a legal way to compensate the board, we could focus on reducing expenses and securing the fiscal stability of the district. On top of wasting resources, this topic sows division on the board and in the community. Personally, if there was one thing that would dissuade me from running for school board, it would be the prospect of joining a group mired in a contentious and unproductive debate on a topic that doesn't serve the needs of the district. I urge the board members to consider discontinuing this investigation and devoting these resources to more pressing needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Michelle Doviak.
I'm Michelle Doviak. Good evening. Tonight, I am the voice for the Learning Lab teachers and students in our district. Last week, the Learning Lab TOSAs were made aware of the district's decision to eliminate our positions and to discontinue, essentially gutting, the current Learning Lab model at the middle and high school buildings. I want to implore you to keep the current model in place as it serves the need of our most vulnerable population and provides equity for all students. Slide 6 of today's agenda references that Learning Lab support will continue next year and look differently, and the district is piloting a period-by-period model at East for second semester. This slide, however, is vague and doesn't clearly articulate the value of an entire program. Learning Lab isn't just a support, it is a specialized program that can't be replaced with a period-by-period model. On average, Learning Lab serves approximately 350 students per school year. According to current enrollment data on NYSA.gov, we service 17% of middle and high school population in Williamsville School District. Learning Lab is an integral part of the new MTSS district initiative, which represents the most comprehensive Tier 2 intervention service. In our current program, we are interventionalists who are well-versed in multiple academic disciplines and executive functioning. We work on goal setting, self-advocacy, study skills, organizational skills, time management skills, but we're relationship-centered. We are a family. My kids are my children. In my role at South High School, I know every facet of each Learning Lab student. I use a tiered approach to make sure they make measured progress. I know the intricacies of their daily lives, their schedules, their jobs, their sports, their interests, their families. A period by period program can't and won't do that for students. Let me ask each of you, don't our students deserve better? As a district, we tout equity. If we dismantle the current program, this will create inequity for our Learning Lab students. The proposed program would be a teacher 6 assignment model, and frankly, multiple teachers who are already teaching 5 classes won't be able to provide the same intervention support that the Learning Lab TOSAs do daily. This will result in more course failures, lower graduation rates. When I think about my students losing this method of support, my heart breaks for them.
Thank you.
Many.
Our next speaker is Gabrielle Beraldi.
Should I lower this? Hello, my name is Gabrielle Beraldi, and I'm here to discuss the removal of the current Learning Lab program and why it is far too important to our students and me to be removed. Learning Lab is extremely important, if not essential, to many students, including me in the district, who may have a different way of learning, whether that be a learning disability, mental disability, or delay, or even just a different way of learning in general. Learning Lab gives these kids equal opportunities to learn and succeed rather than letting them fall behind in class because they don't understand the material. Not because they don't care to learn it, but because they learn with more one-on-one help, such as what is provided in Learning Lab right now. To take away the Learning Lab program as it currently is would be sort of like telling us, all kids like me, all students with have a different way of learning, such as a learning disability or delay, or any sort of different way of thinking or also kids that need extra time on any school assignments that they don't matter enough to have a program where they can learn and understand what is being taught to them in their classes without falling behind. The purpose of school is to teach kids all the knowledge that they need in the world, all the knowledge that we need in the world, and kids that need Learning Lab should never be treated as an exception. And they should never have to receive bad grades or failing grades despite putting all of their effort and care towards their academics and learning and preparing for the real world, despite how much they try and how much they care. Just because they learn best through this program. Please keep the current Learning Lab program because it is beneficial for students and it is essential for some students, including me. We don't deserve to fall behind for our individual way of learning and processing information. Individuality should be supported with the Learning Lab program rather than punished, abandoned, or left behind just because it's within the minority. Thank you very much for listening to this.
Thank you. And our next speaker is James Handley.
Yes, my name is James Hanley, and my topic has to do with the budget, which is going to be discussed in a few minutes. So it's a little out of order here. Basically, my question, I know it may not be answered tonight, but if I can get a response, is what's going on with the bus transportation line? The reason I say that, it's not shown here, but that line is now going up 12% from where it is today. And so I just like to understand, it's perfectly valid, possibly valid, just trying to understand why. And the reason I'm really bringing it up is when this year's budget was proposed and the next year's is sort of estimated, it was only thought to be going up $600,000. It's going up $1.1 million. So it's a $500,000 increase from where it thought it was just 6 months ago. So if the board can get back to me or the district office, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes our first public expression for today.
Thank you. And please note that a Learning Lab update will be included during agenda item 6A. A compensation committee update is under item 7C, and we are moving right on to our budget development shortly. So Dr. Brown Hall, I turn it over to you to introduce items 4B, which is the shared decision-making team report, and then 4C, our budget development.
Thank you very much, Board President. We have the fortune of having our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction, Dr. Balin, who actually oversees our shared decision-making programming in the district. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Balin to just provide some updates under item 4B about, excuse me, the shared decision-making team report.
Thank you so much, Dr. Brown Hall. Good evening, everyone. As a complementary item to another agenda item that takes place a little bit later this evening, we did include a report from Beth Ann Diodato McPhillips. I wish to thank Beth Ann. Beth Ann is our district committee chairperson for shared decision-making and a parent representative. We have, again, Dr. Brown Hall mentioned the good fortune. We have an outstanding committee with cross-stakeholder representation. Beth Ann's statements are really just a testament, I would say, to the great work, not just by the district committee, but by the shared decision-making committees at the building level as a whole. The community may be aware, one of the great resources we have on our website is not only our district plan for participation, but each school creates their own shared decision-making plan on a template that we provide centrally, and they talk about their goals and objectives for the year. There are a lot of great components. I would welcome anybody to go and look on our website and take a look at those plans. But as you can see from Beth Ann's statements, there's a lot of great work happening. She highlights some of that work here, but the totality of the work is encompassed in the plans. And of course, the buildings themselves have wonderful committees. So thank you to all of the people involved at those levels. So we look forward to continuing that great work. And again, we have a complementary item later in on the agenda, which speaks to our process for implementing shared decision-making in the district. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bell, and I appreciate it greatly. We'll move on to item 4C, and this is our initial budget development program increases, our first presentation. And so I will turn that over to the very capable hands of our acting Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Management Services, Dr. Chris McGinley.
Thank you, Dr. Brown Hall. It is that time of the year where we begin to provide the Board of Education and Community with some initial information on the development of our budget. Each January, we begin our budget development process with a look at our program continuation estimates that we are presenting tonight. So this slide delves into that for us. On the top left in the yellow, you can see that our current budget is $242,719,867. Below that are the areas where we'll likely see the most significant cost increases to sustain our current programs. You'll note that the expenses are categorized into mandated, contractual, inflation-driven, and the last is to support program. The first area is total employee salaries of almost $4 million. Health insurance increases are at 8% or $2,092,360. And for BOCES, we've had some higher expenses in this area, which resulted in about $1.6 million increase. These expenses are associated with supporting direct student programs, occupational education programs, and administrative items, including purchasing instructional technology. Lastly, bus transportation is outsourced to Student Transportation of America, and we have mandated increases of about $1,125,674, which include mandated increases in the special education area. The total required expense increase is about $8,767,108, making next year's preliminary budget about $251,482,975. Our budget will be close to this number, but our budget could go up or down based upon additional data as it becomes available, such as teacher retirements. Currently, that increase is about 3.61% from last year. If we shift to the right side of this table, we have taken these same areas and projected them out an additional year to see the future impact of continuing the program into 27-28. There are many factors that could impact these numbers, such as contract negotiations and other areas that may have significant increases as well. Moving to this slide is our program enhancements. Working with our special education department, we're looking to add 2 teachers on special assignment to support the implementation of their strategic plan and enhance student outcomes. As a percentage of our current budget, this would be about 0.06%. So if we bring this all together now on this slide with looking at our program continuation and our enhancements, we're looking at a total budget increase of about $8,913,108 or 3.67%. So a few important reminders about the budget right now is that this is a working budget and it could change based upon new information, such as retirements, as I mentioned. The BOCES budget will not be finalized until March, and we could see some changes in these initial BOCES projections. One of the big unknowns in the budget are the revenue estimates, which I see the governor is going to release some of those estimates, the budget next Tuesday. So we'll have more information then. So once we get that information, we'll start working on our tax cap calculation, and we should have some preliminary estimates at our next board meeting.
Thank you. And is it correct, Dr. McGinley, that we may see additional expenses? I know the special education department are looking at cohorts of students that are moving through to see if additional special education programming along the continuum is necessary for in-district.
We do continue to monitor that and many other areas too as we progress with more information.
Thank you very much for that. May I jump to item 5, Board President?
Were there any questions
sorry.
regarding
That'd
the
be important.
budget development before we jump on?
I just on the bus transportation, if I may. These increases were foreseen. It's not like we didn't know these were coming.
Correct. There is, we do have a contract with STA, so there are foreseeable increases there. There's also, there's times that we do have to provide special education services to students. And so those buses are mini buses, and we can only fit so many students on those buses. So we have to increase those buses, and that is an increased cost. So some of those increases are unforeseen as well. But they are.
Will there be fuel, insurance, things like that?
Fuel, insurance, right. We try to do our best to predict fuel in the future as well. But, we don't have a crystal ball. We can't predict all world events and what that might do to fuel prices. But we do our best to monitor and look at that and also make predictions upon trends.
Any other questions regarding the budget? Okay, thank you. Now, please move on.
Thank you very much. I'm going to turn it back to Assistant Superintendent Dr. McGinley to really talk about the repair reserve proposed items for the summer of 2026. It totals about $1.2 million, if I'm correct.
That's correct. Yeah. And not to exceed 1.2 million. So it's hard to believe it's been 25 years ago that we established this repair reserve, and it really is to serve for these necessary repairs on an annual basis. And these are often non-routine repairs like paving a parking lot or resurfacing a gym floor. That these projects are too large to absorb in our annual budget, but this does provide us with that opportunity to do these projects before the next capital project. So really it is a way to ensure that we're maintaining safe, functional, and well-maintained spaces for our students students. And our facilities department does a wonderful job at really prioritizing these projects and determining what it is that we need to do in a timely way. And so this year we're coming to the board asking for not to exceed 1.2 million for repairs that include refinishing the gym floor at East High School, which that would finish our last of the 3 high school gym floors. We do want to repave portions of the parking lot at Casey Middle School, including replacing some sections of sidewalk. And we do want to replace an air conditioning unit that services our server room. So these projects do require some architectural services, which we expect to cost at $62,500. So currently the district has $5,153,809 in repair reserves. And so we'll be able to fund this project with no impact to our general operating budget.
Thank you very much, Dr. McGinley. Board President, I turn it back over to you.
Are there any questions or comments from the board regarding the proposed summer repair reserve? Okay, so we will now have our public hearing for the proposed repair reserve projects only. Anyone wishing to address the board regarding the proposals may approach the podium and sign in to speak at this time. I don't see anyone approaching the podium, so the approval of the repair reserve project is an agenda item 12A later in the meeting. We are now on item 6. Dr. Brown Hall, I turn it over to you for your superintendent's report.
Thank you very much, Board President. So we are going to start with item 6A, the community update. So first and foremost, UPK information. So for the 26-27 school year, the UPK registration process has changed. So parents must fully register their eligible child as a new student of the district by Monday, February 23rd, 2026. Registrations completed after this date will be added to the wait list. Parents must register first in order to be eligible for this year's lottery, if one is needed, and held based on the total number of applicants. All of the information can be found by clicking the link. The UPK page on the Williamsville Central School District website has all the detailed information and the links to register. We are currently in the RFP process to select community-based organizations, CBOs, for the 26-27 school year and beyond. So that RFP has already launched, and the application deadline for that RFP is January 28th, 2026. So after that time, after the review is conducted, after the applications are brought in, we will know which vendors will be CBOs beginning in the 26-27 school year. GEAC information. So we have a special education advisory council in the district, and now under the direction of Dr. Denise Stappenbeck, our director of student services, we will begin a GEAC, a gifted education advisory council, which is being established. So the first informational session Dr. Stappenbeck will be holding at Mill Middle School on Tuesday, January 27th at 6:00 p.m. Information regarding this has already been sent out to families. The session will include an overview of GEAC, why it's being formed, and how stakeholders can participate. So if you are interested in attending the informational session, please be sure to register at this link that will be in the community update, and it's on our website also, I believe. Correct, Nick?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Governor Hochul, she came to visit our school. She was at Maple West Elementary School to highlight the free and reduced meals program throughout New York State. So we are very pleased to see our numbers for breakfast and lunch have increased. So our students are taking advantage of the free meals that are offered for breakfast and lunch. So we were very pleased to welcome the governor as she acknowledged that. And she actually did her press conference from Maple West Elementary School. And it's good to see that our students really have access to breakfast, because we know that's an important meal for the day to get students geared up for learning, and for lunch in the afternoon. Master teachers. Congratulations to two of our teachers, Andrea Armstrong from Maple East and Kathleen Wheeler from Dodge, who have been selected to be part of the New York State Master Teacher Program. Over the years, we've had a number of teachers who have been selected for the New York State Master Teacher Program, and we are very proud of them. The program consists of outstanding STEM teachers recognized for their dedication to professional growth and development. Learning labs, and you heard a little bit about that tonight from speakers, but I want to correct some misinformation because there seems to be misinformation that learning lab support will not continue for the 26-27 school year, and that is false. Learning lab support will continue. We will have learning lab for the 26-27 school year. Will it be in the current model? No, it will not. The support will look different as we decide on the model that we're going to use. We are piloting a period by period model at East High School for the second semester. There is not one model that Learning Lab must follow to be effective. So we are exploring a new model, a more flexible model for our school district. Keep in mind, initial funding for the learning labs were through our ESSER funds that we received as part of the COVID grants. The learning lab model is approximately an $800,000 cost for our district, so we're looking at other models that can also be more flexible. That funding comes out of the general fund in the current year because we no longer have COVID or ESSER funds. So if you have additional questions or want more clarification, you can feel free to contact your middle or high school principal if you have any questions. But again, Learning Lab, the model will continue. We will be offering it period by period with teacher support during those periods. Chromebooks. We have made the decision to discontinue assignment of Chromebooks for the one-to-one model format for students in grades 5 to 6, beginning in the 26-27 school year. However, there will be class sets of Chromebooks provided, so students will still have the opportunity to do work on Chromebooks, and they will still have that digital access during the school day. Buildings and professional learning staff are working to streamline assignments and homework. That's why we're making the announcement now, so that we can gear learning that usually is required after hours on the Chromebook for students in grades 5 and 6. We can gear more of that to the realization that they will not have those Chromebooks assigned. Our continued desire is to definitely balance screen time. We know how important it is to balance screen time, especially in our younger students. Now, for the 27-28 school year, we are looking to also extend that to grades 7 and 8 and discontinuing the assignment of one-to-one Chromebooks at grades 7 and 8 beginning that school year. Guardian Caps. And I want to talk about Guardian Caps because this was brought up at the Fall Community Forum. A parent was very passionate about it. He asked the board to look into it, and we did. Our athletic director, Chris Michika, along with our high school athletic directors all met. They met with coaches. They did their research about Guardian Caps also. And so they came to the decision that Guardian Caps will be available for student use in the fall of 2026 for all levels of football, modified, junior varsity, and varsity. This will be optional for students. Students will not be forced to wear them, but they will be available at no cost to students for them to use. If you have any questions, please contact our district athletic director or your high school athletic director. While we're on this topic, I do want to say I appreciate parents and community members that come to our community forums and have discussion with the Board of Education and the superintendent. I was at a PTSA meeting at North High School, board member Fletch was there, and a parent even said, coming to the community forums allows dialogue with the board, and although things may not happen immediately, we will work on them and things will come out of the community forums. And so I appreciate our stakeholders that do come to the community forums, have those discussions, and we're allowed to do additional research. Calendar updates. So there is no school next Monday, January 19th, in observance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Our Regents exams, our January exams, will then follow from January 20th to the 23rd. There will be no school on February 16th, no school on February 17th for Asian Lunar New Year, and then the rest of the week will be midwinter recess. In the district newsletter, we previously shared the cultural and religious observations through the 28-29 school year. There is a correction though. For the 26-27 school year, Eid al-Adha will be May 17th, 2027. So that was incorrectly stated on the district newsletter that went home. And we are going to, at the next board meeting, the February 10th board meeting, we will have the preliminary calendar for the board to have sit for 30 days and then adopt in March. Right now, we have finalized the calendar. We have sent it to our unions for a courtesy review of the calendar to get their input, and then that will be made public. So we all know Labor Day is late next year, so we're looking at a later start to the school year next year. 2026 summer school. It will be here before we know it. So the dates are set and the locations are set for summer school. Elementary and middle will take place at Casey Middle School from July 8th to the 18th. Our Community Ed WOW program will also be at Casey Middle School. High school summer school will remain at East High School from July 7th to August 19th. Just for Kids will be at High Middle School. Our special education district-wide summer school will be at Transit Middle School from July 6th to August 14th, and our music programming over the summer will be at North High School. And that is the community update. What questions might our board members have? Dr. Spicer. I'm
Yes.
sorry, that's your, I'm sorry.
All right, I'm leaning far here. Thank you for reviewing the Learning Lab question. And I did ask a few questions, I know, of you to the board via email. One question I did want to ask to ask it at the board table. It was shared with me that there was a concern that Learning Lab teachers are not only doing their Learning Lab position, but are at times compensating for vacancies in other positions. Can you just address that concern?
Absolutely. So we have, and I know the school you were referring to, but we do have those positions filled. And I do want to talk about, we appreciate the work that our teachers do daily. We appreciate the connections that are made with teachers also, and teachers and students. And we know that right now, for example, if I am a student, I have fourth period free, and I decide to go to Learning Lab to get additional help during that period, that's my fourth period. When we do period by period Learning Lab assignments, if I have a fourth period teacher who is doing Learning Lab at that time, that's the teacher that will be doing Learning Lab. That's the period I have free. So say you're the Learning Lab teacher for fourth period. You're the teacher I will be seeing for Learning Lab. I will build that relationship with you. And we know that Learning Lab teachers are instrumental. That's why we're not going to discontinue the program, right? We're going to have it on a period by period model.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Board President, I turn it back over to you.
Actually, I believe we're still on you for, are we doing the district strategic plan goal update?
Let's do it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So for item 6B, our strategic plan update, our goals update for January. So we do give strategic plan updates in January and June. So our district strategic plan is our district's guiding document. We're pleased with the progress we have made in all goal areas, whether it be communication, wellness, community, and sustainability, teaching, learning, and leadership, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. Last year, we partnered with VIA Evaluation to conduct surveys on the strategic plan and the DEI plan. What we found is that a good number of our stakeholders know we have these plans, but they don't know what's in them. We're developing a series of videos to better acquaint our school community with these plans. These videos will be available prior to the end of the school year. I encourage you to please review the highlights in the plan. We have highlights from January 2024 to present day, January 2026. For example, in communication, you will see what activities help us reach the goal of improving communication and collaboration within and among the district and school buildings in order to effectively engage all stakeholders. You will also see details of how this is happening across the district. In teaching, learning, and leadership, you will see what activities are helping us reach the goal of students making meaningful connections to their educational experiences, focusing on understanding what they're learning, why they are learning it, and using feedback to grow and make enhancements. This is a 32-page document, but an easy read document with a great deal of information to help you better understand how we are moving the district forward. We'll begin to solicit stakeholder interest in being part of the strategic planning team for the 2027-2032 strategic plan document. Meetings will begin in September of 2026. I'm going to move forward now to item 6C, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Update. Our district DEI plan highlights are encouraging to see the work that continues district-wide and honoring our diverse school community, looking at all aspects of the district through an equitable lens, and aiming to increase inclusivity, leading to a sense of belonging for every student. Goal Activity 1D. The district and schools will promote the use of inclusive language that meets the evolving needs of our community. Inclusive language fosters belonging. We must choose words that include rather than exclude. And evidence that is listed here, it highlights. At Casey Middle, the DEI Values and Visions and Communications Committee help review messaging for use of strength-based language and create accessible materials to foster a strong sense of belonging for every student and family. Our school diversity, equity, and inclusion teams conducted equity audits in which common areas, hallways, and entry points are being reviewed for inclusivity, signs of belonging, and connection to the school. With all of our goal areas and activities in the plan, it's easy to see why our ratings were proficient when last rated. One last example, Goal Activity 2A. The full diversity of our district community and beyond will be reflected in the curriculum in order to ensure that students will both relate to the curriculum and respect the perspectives and experiences of others. And you saw some of that when Principal Bowen was highlighting it at Maple East Elementary. Our evidence is that in our ELA classrooms, student choice within book clubs allows students to explore varying perspectives. Texts are continually being updated with new editions available to provide diversity in the curriculum. Students are able to read about the unique perspective and experiences of others. So you see, we have examples in our diversity, equity, and inclusion updates specifically geared at district-wide initiatives and school-specific initiatives. So you see how we are reaching our diversity, equity, and inclusion goals. Any questions from board members?
Not a question, just a statement. I appreciate for both plans, while they're very thick documents.
They are.
I appreciate the fact that this microphone's not working for me tonight. I appreciate the fact that there's timely updates, and so you can see when the updates happened, and the most recent one being January 2026. So that layout is very helpful to follow along.
Thank you very much. And I do want to thank, under Dr. Bellin's leadership, Danielle Alterio, who is our Director of Professional Learning, helps assemble this, and our graphic designer, A.B. Bowinkle, helps with the design of it. So thank you very much.
And just to add to that, in that same structure, then you get to see the progress throughout every year, which is really good to see. So I appreciate the structure of that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from board members? Okay, we're moving on to item 7A. First of all, I want to thank board members Manna, Fleckinger, Poulin, Singh, and Fletch for agreeing to monitor a board goal this year. In August, we established our annual board goals to provide clear direction, align resources, ensure accountability for student achievement, and demonstrate continuous improvement. Our current goals align with the district's strategic plan, and additionally, we have a board governance goal. I just wanted to offer some mid-year highlights of our work. First of all, elevating student voice with our 3 student board members who have a board mentor, additional board support, and we're involved in revising the 2026-27 student board member selection process. So thank you for all that you've added to our board this year. Additionally, board members are facilitating two-way communication by serving as PTSA liaisons and hosting both a community forum and a conversation with staff event in November. We received a very thorough and interesting math curriculum update in the fall. We continue to monitor data on discipline, attendance, class sizes, and enrollment. We held a board retreat in December with a focus on team building and communication. And we continue to review and ensure that our policies are equitable. And we included new policies this year, such as 7316, use of internet-enabled devices during the school day, and 5685, maximum temperatures for school buildings and indoor facilities. We also had updates to some policies, including 5710 transportation program and 3290 operation of motor-driven vehicles on district property. For any further details, you can see the mid-year report, which is attached in board docs. Are there any other comments from the board regarding that before we move on? Okay. Item 7B, would any of our student board members like to provide a report regarding your activities and events? Should we start, Salil? Is that okay? So Salil Karharnis, he is the representative for East High School.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you all had an amazing winter break. And had a happy new year. I just wanted to highlight some of the things that happened at Williamsville East before break, before I talk about what's been happening since we've come back. So these are pictures from our Winterfest concert, which was on December 17th and 18th, Wednesday and Thursday. The music department always goes out big. And so the way we do it is this is our large stage area where band, orchestra, and chorus, they all take turns going there. But while they perform there, there's students that perform solo acts or even in groups, as you can see in like the upper pit sort of areas. And then stage crew also works, putting the spotlight on students to just basically make it an amazing experience. And this is our Grinch performance at the beginning of the concert, just reminding everyone to mute all their cell phones. And yeah, this is just an amazing experience. And Winterfest was a huge success this year. And this is the end of the year Commons party on December 19th, the day right before winter break. And it was really helped out by Mrs. Weber, where she basically put games in the Commons after school Friday for students to just hang out, enjoy, and have a great time before they, head home. And students participated in all sorts of fun, collaborative activities, as you can see here. And I've talked to people who went and they said it was just a lot of fun, just getting to hang out with friends. And yeah, just a lot more pictures. I know they built some pretty impressive cup stacks. Like this one too. Okay. So now that we've come back to school, everyone's trying to gear back in. On Tuesday, January 6th, we had our 8th grade curriculum night, which was an overview of courses and programs for incoming students. On Wednesday, January 7th, we had a SIAC meeting at Williamsville East in the morning. We discussed the future in my group, Group A. We discussed like the district-wide event, and we are still currently thinking about hanging up posters, which we will have the students from Williamsville East in SIAC are planning on having a meeting after midterm week to discuss like the finalizing posters and hanging them all up. On January 8th, Thursday, TSA Club took a field trip to NCCC Tech Wars, where they basically brought their builds, such as trebuchet, where they had to hit a target that was 40 feet away using pre-built calculations. And I know some people came back with awards, so that was great. January 9th, FBLA general meeting was in the Odd. And FBLA, if you didn't know, is one of our largest clubs, and its membership has been growing throughout the years. I think this year we had over 200 members join, and there were over 150 school kids going to Rochester for like a 3-week span. So during that week, I believe there's like just no one at school, and there's 12 chaperones coming. Just how big of a club it really is. January 10th, which is Saturday, which was the ECMA all-county auditions at DEPU for jazz and junior high, and all 8 junior high vocal students scored 100 from our chorale department. So a shout out to them, which is amazing. January 13th, which is today, there's a junior high instrumental auditions at Orchard Park. And in school, we had a careers in courts panel presentation during 5th period in the Odd, where we basically had professionals from the court system come in, such as a law clerk, like a stenographer, someone who like types out the reports, a lawyer, a court cop, and they basically told us about their journey and experience. And it was just a great way for students who are interested in the law field, but not necessarily lawyers, to just learn a lot more about what they can do in the future. Tomorrow, we have a presentation about the New Visions program, which is an opportunity for students to learn about medicine, law, diesel technology, plant science, and zoology. It's sort of like an internship, or I don't know if you're familiar with Harkness, where students go to Harkness to learn technical skills. But this is a lot more on-site training, and they do a lot more in-depth stuff. I believe it's only for juniors and seniors, but I could be wrong about that. January 16th, this Friday, Chorale is taking a field trip to Kleinhans to attend the BPO performance of Mozart's Mass in C minor. So I'm sure it'll be a great experience for them. ECMEA junior high instrumental auditions are at Orchard Park this Saturday. So good luck to anyone performing from East. And next week is our midterm week. And Monday we have the day off for MLK Day. And the Williamsville East New York Seal of Biliteracy exam will be offered next week, Thursday and Friday. So students who know another language or through school have taken higher, such as AP French or AP Spanish, they can take a district-wide exam to basically certify themselves in this language, and it'll be on their diploma, the Seal of Biliteracy, and they can do multiple exams. And there's also a presentation and speaking that goes along with it. And ongoing is our course scheduling has become, so students are now starting to think about what classes they'll take next year, and they have to basically, think about graduation requirements and that sort of stuff. During the Regents exam week, our music directors will be going to our Transit Middle School to go over auditions for wind ensemble and symphony and chorale and dynamics. These are basically the higher level, which are audition entry programs. And even 8th graders heading into their freshman year can get into them if, they're talented enough and their audition goes well. And our spring musical, Into the Woods rehearsal began last week. So that was great. And I know Pitt Orchestra has been playing in that, and they've gotten off to a great start. And finally, I just wanted to shout out some of our sports. Ezra Rosener, 10th grader, got a school record in the 300-meter dash for indoor track with a time of 37.11 seconds. Lily Ascone, senior, got a school record in the 1,000-meter for indoor track with a time of 2 minutes, 53 seconds, and 7 milliseconds. And Julie Cruz, a senior, set a school record with a quadruple double in basketball against Star Point with 23 points, 17 rebounds, 12 steals, and 10 assists, which is shout out to her.
Wow.
Oh, thank you so much, Salil. Appreciate the update from East. Giselle Maurice, would you like to speak about North?
Yes, I would love to.
Thank you.
At Williamsville North, our hockey team is quite notable. We've gotten section champs and state champs multiple years, but along with being a great team, they also try to focus on giving back. So on December 30th, they had their annual PGA fundraiser, where all proceeds from tickets and the raffle goes to PGA Hope, which helps veterans with PTSD and other trauma-related disorders. The money that they've raised is unsure right now as we're still calculating it, but it's definitely a very amazing opportunity that they have every year to promote this organization. As well as this Friday, they have another promotional game with their annual Teddy Bear Toss, where all teddy bears bought, the proceeds go to crisis services to promote suicide awareness. And during halftime of the game, all students that bought teddy bears are able to throw them into the center of the rink. And I know it's a lot of fun, an amazing game. Just this weekend, the track team went to the Armory in New York City, and I'm pretty sure almost every single athlete that went placed in the top 5. And one of our students is now second in the state for an event. So a lot of notable things. I'm pretty sure a few school records broken as well. This month, Spartan Chronicles, the school newspaper, will be starting, and they're able to poll a few students for the Spartan Choice Awards for music. So similar to the Emmys or a lot of other music awards, they want to see what students at North like. So stay tuned for the Spartan Chronicles on what Spotify Wrapped will be at North. Along with at East, we also had our 8th grade curriculum tonight, and a lot of things to look forward to, as long as a change in New York State graduation requirements, along with health being a mandatory half-year course. Personal finance is also being added. So then this is to help students going into their careers, to go get to college or going to other trades, to know how to monitor their finances and be productive adults. And as well as hopefully AP cybersecurity and AP anatomy and physiology being added to the curriculum during the time that these 8th graders will be at high school. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh. DSP, would you like to provide a presentation regarding South?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
we'll start off with the Spirit Week. First day was Pajama Day. Second was Whiteout, and I got the whole Student Congress to.
DSP, can you speak into the mic, please?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
First day was the Pajama Day. Second was Whiteout, and I got the whole Student Congress to take a picture.
That's awesome.
Yeah. The people kneeling down in the front, those are actually our officers. Then we had Puffer wears his flannel. We also had Holiday Character. Now, there was somebody else that was dressed as Santa. I just couldn't get a picture of them. And then Sweater Weather. We had our National Honor Society members make holiday cards for local nursing homes. The NHS members also read with the Maple East and Forest students. I believe this was right before break. Then SAD Club, which stands for Students Against Destructive Decisions, made snow notes and sold hot chocolate kits. Basically, like, students volunteered during their free periods to help sell snow notes outside of the cafeteria in support of the SAD Club. Then we had our door decoration competition, and that's one of the winners.
Oh,
yeah. There was another one, the musical wing. They also had a performance included with the decoration. Yeah, yeah. Both of them were great, so like they couldn't pick one winner. Yeah. Here's some of the other ones, other rooms that were decorated. Then we had the BCC, which stands for Black Culture Club, and High Middle School. Basically, they had a gift exchange for Christmas. Then we also had our Winter Spectacular concert, I believe it's called. I don't know why I wrote Spectrum. Basically, what it is it includes like all of the musical people.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, DSP. And thanks to all three of you for providing, those updates. I'm always impressed with how much goes on in all three high schools. And thank you for keeping us updated. We appreciate it. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Okay. We will move on to item 7C, events. Would someone from the Board of Education Compensation Committee please provide an update? Is there someone who's prepared?
You can
Dr.
start.
Spicer?
Okay. Yes, happy to. So the first meeting of the compensation committee was actually last night, and all members of the committee except for one were present. So we had a great conversation. In the conversation, we went through the charter, which is, we know, available on the website and through board docs, but we reviewed that charter. We had everybody in the committee do introductions in sharing their who they were, their connection to the district, and of course their reason for being there, which helped start the conversation. Vice President Manna talked through what the timeline was of the board thus far, what the legal opinion was, and then we had a dialogue around what questions the committee had. So because I'm in academia, called them research questions. So we concluded the meeting after a really great dialogue with what research questions do we have? So follow up to that will be sharing out those questions to make sure that all committee members are comfortable with the summary of them. We are going to share out research that has been done already, links to NYSBA. And then also we asked the committee members to, of course, feel free to do their own research as well. We don't want them to feel like they can only research what is shared out by research already done. So that was the conclusion of the committee. I said this today at work. I enjoy giving people homework. So the committee does have homework, of course, but everybody really was very enthusiastic and engaged in the conversation. Next meeting will happen in February. The date is, we're working on the date to be determined. And I will get those notes into Mrs. Carey, so they can be available to everybody.
Thank you. And I would like to add, you have, 8 people, 1 couldn't make it. So we had 7 that were randomly chosen and 3 from the PTSA. And, the opinions ran the gamut, as you would expect. There's people who initially said, or maybe continue to say, being very skeptical of it, being against it, but willing to listen to what the justification was. And, does this help not solve one problem? We're not looking to solve one problem. Is it part of a solution to several larger problems that either are before us or, are around the corner from us? So I will say I was very happy with the committee that they were able to listen and bring all different perspectives to the questions. I would, we told the committee there's no, requirement that we have this committee, but we wanted to, have a greater in-depth conversation rather than listen to anonymous flamethrowers on social media. So, everyone was respectful. They asked thoughtful questions, came in with good perspectives, and asked for research to kind of walk down their own path of how they feel on this. And we're in no rush for this. We're going to have, 1 meeting a month. People's schedules change from the first week in January that we sent the Google Calendar doc out. So we're going to schedule another meeting once the co-chairs figure out our schedule, get to some of the research that they requested. That way they don't have to hunt and peck for research. We'll kind of, send them some documents or some links to look at. And then we'll go from there.
So it sounds like we won't likely have recommendations by the February meeting. It will be sometime thereafter.
Right. And I think the charter said by February when the committee is ready to give them.
Absolutely. I was just
Yes.
clarifying.
Yes.
that.
Again, I am not in any hurry. I want, the committee to feel like they've had their say. And the last thing I want is for a committee to say afterwards, gee, I wish I would have asked that question or would have known this. So we're going to, let this play out. There's no rush. We want a thoughtful deliberation.
Okay. Thank you so much. Anyone have anything to add or questions? DSP.
I had a question. Is the committee going to discuss a number?
Part of the research, one of the research questions is to look at what other districts do that in state and out of state and how they do it. So is that a dollar amount? Is that a tax break? Is that an insurance benefit? So there's a variety of options out there. So that's part of the research that will take place so that they can weigh all of that information.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Other questions or comments? Okay. We will move on then. Please note that student forums will be held at each high school on January 28th, and that will be with board members and our superintendent. The updated 2026-27 student board member selection process is attached in board docs. Is there any comments or questions regarding that? Again, thank you to our current student board members for being involved in those conversations and updating that process for next year. Okay, moving on. Does anyone have any comments related to the ECASB or NYSSBA items in board docs? Ms. Poulin.
I'll just shout out a reminder that the window is open for the ECASB awards that are put out at the end of the year. So I would invite board members to reflect on people that they might want to nominate for one of the many awards. And it could be somebody on our board, or if you know someone on another school board, feel free to nominate them as well. So
thank you. Thank you for that reminder. The liaison assignments are listed in board docs, and just a reminder to please complete your liaison report in a timely manner after each assignment. Are there any questions from board members about the liaison assignments? Okay. Board candidate packet and information will be available the first week of February. And for correspondence, in the past month, we received correspondence regarding board compensation, as well as cleaning products on the school supply list. We are now on our consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve items 9 minutes, 10 personnel, 11 business and finance, 12 district facilities and support services, 13 exceptional education, special needs and student activities, and 14 instruction curriculum as presented. Mr. Manna, Ms. Poulin, is there any discussion? All in favor?
Question.
Oh, you have a question. Okay, there is discussion.
I just have a quick question. And I don't even know if it's in this one or not, but when it comes to volunteer coaches, obviously there's no stipend, but they are still going through the same process as coaches, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Can you just, and what is that again?
Can you explain the process, Dr. Brown Hall, at all?
They have to actually still apply. They have to do their references. It's still fingerprinting.
Yes.
And all that type of checking. Yes.
That was my question. Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, so all in favor of the consent agenda items as presented? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you to the following retirees for their service to the district. Don Washwana, Heim Middle School music teacher with 30 years of service. John Dolfler, Transit Middle School custodian with 17 years of service. Teddy Perez, Facilities Department maintenance mechanic with 12 years of service. Maureen Churchiarelli, custodian, Dodge Elementary School with 25 years of service. And Colleen Villalta, teacher aide, Mill Middle School with 20 years of service. So congratulations and thank you to all of our retirees. We are now on item 15. May I have a motion for the second reading and review of policy updates 5413 procurement uniform grant guidance for federal awards, 5681 school safety plans, and 7522 concussion management as presented. Mr. Manna, Dr. Spicer, is there any discussion? All in favor? Motion carried unanimously. And now may I have a motion to adopt these policy updates? Mr. Bulin, Dr. Singh, is there any discussion? All in favor? Motion carried unanimously. May I have a motion for the first reading and review of policy updates 5674, which is being renumbered to 5850, data networks and security access, and 5851, cybersecurity incident response as presented. Dr. Spicer, Ms. Bleckinger, is there any discussion? All in favor? Motion carried unanimously. And now may I have a motion to postpone these policy updates for the second reading and adoption at the February 10th meeting? Mr. Bulin, Dr. Singh, is there any discussion? All in favor? Motion carried unanimously. There are no matters to discuss under 16 legislative matters. Does anyone have a topic to discuss under committee of the whole? Dr. Singh, I believe you were up first.
I just wanted to bring up the topic of the school start time back again. We had a district presentation last year on that, and since then we had a couple of updates. We had updated information on transportation based on the transportation study we had, and I think there have been 2 bills in the New York Assembly and Senate regarding their version of the school start time for different middle and high schools, elementary, middle, and high schools. So I was going to request if the district had any plan to revisit the school start time, reconvene the committee and look into the changes in school start time, probably not for the coming school year, but the year after that.
May I respond? We definitely can. That is something that we had on the back burner to reconsider. Again, not for the 26-27 school year, but possibly the 27-28 school year. Reconvening the committee. We know what feedback we received last time, where some of the sticking points were at, and we know what is actually being discussed in the state legislature right now also. So that is something we definitely can do, is reconvene the committee to see who wants to participate, and then take a longer look at it over this time, including next year, for a possible implementation for the 27-28 school year.
And possibly have more time for the community to have their questions answered and not try to rush things.
Right. And well, we didn't try to rush them. Anyway, I just want to clear that up. Anyway, allowing more time is definitely something we can do. I know that was brought up before, allowing people to digest it over a longer period of time, and we can definitely do that.
Thank you.
I'll talk to the chairperson of the committee, was Principal Boardman at South. I will talk to him to see if he is interested in remaining as chair to resurrect that committee.
Are there any other board member comments regarding that before we move on to the next committee of the whole topic? I do not see any. So that, oh wait, was there someone? I'm sorry, Mr. Biscaglia.
I don't mind revisiting the topic, but is there a thought of just kind of waiting until we see what happens in New York State, even though, I question that too, because sometimes it takes years for state governments to do things, but is there any thought in that?
I think it could be two trains running, because I know that the state, very similar to states who have passed those laws, give guidelines, but we would still have to come up with what specific for Williamsville times within those guidelines, so we can look at the law that is being proposed and then develop times within those guidelines.
I have a question.
Mr. Manna?
Thank you. So when this was brought up the first time, the board did not turn it down. We just did not take action. So what is the parliamentary procedure then to restart this? Would it take another board vote to reconvene and restart this committee since no action was taken?
No action was taken, so I don't know that it necessarily needs a motion, but if someone wants to make a motion, we can certainly do so. But I don't think we need a motion to
Start a committee.
start a committee, because it's a district committee. If it were a board committee, then we would, but because it's a district committee, I don't believe there's any parliamentary motion needed for that. Does that make sense?
I don't know if it makes sense, but if that's what it is, it's what it is.
Yeah.
It just seems to me, I remember, the board voted on, if my memory serves me, the charter. Didn't we appoint the committee?
No.
No, we did not do that.
Charter we didn't approve of?
No, it was always a district.
It was a district committee, so there was not a board charter. It was not a board committee. It was.
What was the action that began the actual looking into it? Was it a board action?
It was not. It was a superintendent goal.
Okay.
Dr. Spicer.
I'll just offer a comment and to Mr. Biscaglia's point and Dr. Brown Hall's point about the two trains running. One of the pieces of feedback we gave was to have a little bit more lead time to look into those logistical pieces of, I remember the athletics being a big part of the conversation. So, watching the legislature and having a longer time to have those conversations, I think is really beneficial. So thank you, Dr. Singh, for bringing it up.
Yeah. What I will guarantee is we have a lot going on, right? Lot going on. So this is not something that we're looking to bring to you in a couple of months, few months, 6 months, none of that. We got a lot going on. You all have a lot going on with compensation committee. We have a lot going on with homework and grading, with budgeting. So this is not something that will be rushed. All right. So I want to assure you that this is not something the board will have to contend with, in the fall, next spring. So we will take our time with this one.
Thank you. And it has been helpful in the past when we know something is potentially coming through the pipeline to get a head start on it, so we don't have to rush through it at the end.
Right.
So, thank you. Any other questions or comments regarding this? Okay. Giselle, I believe that you asked to have guardian caps for sports other than football other than football, which we talked about earlier this evening on the agenda under committee of the whole. So
Correct. As we heard in Dr. Brown Hall's community update, all football teams modified through varsity at all of our schools receiving guardian caps that are optional to wear in practice or games. So I wanted to propose the idea of opening to other sports. I personally do cheerleading. I've been involved in cheerleading at North since 7th grade. And something that people don't know is that cheerleading can be a very dangerous sport. You might only see us doing cheers on the sidelines, but when we do competitions, one of our focuses is stunts and tumbling and stunts are very dangerous in a way. Just last week, we had a girl out with a concussion due to an injury that happened at cheerleading. She's out for the rest of our season now. But I just wanted to propose the idea of possibly expanding it and I guess open the discussion on like any other concerns or questions. And if it gets to a point where other sports are also intrigued too, I just wanted to open that discussion on possibly expanding it to not just football.
any board member comments on?
Well, I was just going to refer to Mr. Biscaglia because I think at that community forum, you did voice that there were also lots of statistics about concussions in soccer and other sports.
I discussed that being someone who's been through 7 concussions. Gymnastics, soccer, there's certain stats that show it does affect other sports. So there's been things that we've discussed, and then that'll be ongoing. Unfortunately, football is the first sport looked at, even though, again, statistically, it's not the number 1 sport of concussions. But I know Dr. Brown Hall has heard those concerns, and I wouldn't stop looking into it personally as a board member. I think it's very important. Hopefully I still have my brain at 60.
And
Mr. Mano?
thank you. I think it's a great idea. Thank you for bringing it up. And it's not the traditional guardian cap. Not that we're plugging for a Guardian Corporation, but there's other more like a headband or a tight helmet. That goes for soccer or baseball or basketball, cheerleading, it's really anything. So I thank you for bringing it up. So whatever the district can do to further that endeavor, I would support.
Just to clarify, for cheerleading, the ones that you use aren't the ones that go over like a typical football helmet. They're similar to like a bicycle helmet where they clip underneath the neck, or some have like Velcro straps underneath the neck. So it's more of like a headgear instead of like a helmet cover.
And I believe they're instituting them a lot more in college level for cheerleading.
Correct. Yes.
But,
a lot of college teams near us use them at practices or when trying new skills.
I was going to ask, is it just for practices?
Yes. Like for when you try new stunts or new tumbling passes, just to, I guess, have like some peace of mind in case anything, God forbid, would happen. But as far as games and competitions, they would not be worn.
And it's funny because you brought that up when we talked yesterday. And I happened to be at the gym last night and I saw that new TV show with Kristen Chenoweth. She's a cheerleading coach.
Yes.
And I was watching their competition last night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look at all of that. I'm like, so it was just so timely when
Right.
you brought it up. So thank you for that.
Of course.
Okay, so I guess the question is the board in support of exploring the use of these kind of headgear, guardian caps, whatever we want to call them for sports? And if so, do we need to add it to the agenda, Dr. Brown Hall, and then you can bring us back some information, or what would
Sure,
be
I
the
can
next
definitely.
steps?
I will talk with Director Muchika and ask him to reconvene the team and the coaches that looked at that, including some of the cheerleading coaches, to see what would be available, not just for football and cheerleading, but other sports to protect students during practices, for sure.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Any other comments from board members regarding that? Okay, we will move on. We are on 18A, which is our second public expression. If anyone in the audience would like to speak at this time, please step up to the podium and state your name. Again, I don't see anyone rushing the podium, so we will move on. This concludes our regular board meeting. The next scheduled regular board meeting is February 10th. Is there a motion to adjourn this regular board meeting? Dr. Singh, Ms. Bleckinger, all in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you and good night.